Agatha Christie's Poirot. From the thrill-packed pages of Agatha Christie's unforgettable stories of corpses, clues, and crime, Mutual now brings you, complete with bowler hat and brave moustache, your favorite detective, Hercule Poirot, starring Harold Huber in the case of the careless victim. Before meeting Hercule Poirot in his first American adventure, it seems only fitting for the millions of faithful readers who have followed the little Belgian detective's career in book form to meet the famous lady who created this famous character. So it is our privilege to present a message from Agatha Christie, introducing Hercule Poirot from London, England. The next voice you'll hear will be Miss Agatha Christie's. Go ahead, London.
I feel that this is an occasion that would have appealed to Hercule Poirot. He would have done justice to the inauguration of this radio program, and he might have even made it seem something of an international event. However, as he's heavily engaged on an investigation, about which you will hear in due course, I must, as one of his oldest friends, deputize for him. The great man has his little foibles, but really I have the greatest affection for him. It is a source of continuing satisfaction to me that there has been such a generous response to his appearance in my books, and I hope that his new career on the radio will make for him many new friends among a wider public.
Thank you, Miss Agatha Christie. And now, Mutual presents Hercule Poirot and his first American adventure, The Case of the Careless Victim.
Mademoiselle?
Huh?
This is the cozy room apartment rentancy agency?
When we got something to rent, yeah.
I have the desire to rent an apartment.
Who hasn't?
Please, mademoiselle, do not jest. Allons, I have with me a brief dossier of my requirements. Please read it.
Well, all right. Gentleman desires a bright, sun-shining apartment of a reasonable quietness near the heart of the city, should be furnished with the utmost charm, French provincial, if possible. Prices of no consequence, as long as it is very reasonable. Huh? Please communicate with me at the Hotel Windsor. Hercules, Poirot, Poirot.
No, mademoiselle. The name is Poirot. Hercule Poirot.
Well, I wish you luck, Mr. Poirot.
Finding an apartment, mademoiselle, is not a matter of luck. It is a matter of employing the little grey cells. If you can find an apartment for me, please do me the kindness to inform me.
Sure, if you'll do something for me.
And what is that?
If you can find an apartment for me, please do me the kindness to inform me.
Going up. Floor, please.
Number 5. You are new here, no?
Yes, sir. Only came on yesterday. You're Mr. Poirot, aren't you?
Poirot.
Well, Poirot, one of the boys pointed you out. Here you are, sir, 5th floor.
Oh, 1,000 apologies, madame.
Not at all. It was entirely my fault.
Madame appears troubled. Perhaps I may be of some slight assistance?
No, I... Well, if you're sure you don't mind.
But of course not.
You see, it's my door. It won't open.
Aha, and where's this obstinate door, eh?
It's right down the corridor, room 515.
If I may have the key?
But that's just it. The door isn't locked. I left it open only 10 minutes ago.
Indeed. Madame is very trusting, eh?
Here it is. You see, it's stuck. It won't budge.
It is not precisely stuck, madame. It gives a trifle. This door is barricaded.
Oh my goodness.
Voila. She moves.
Oh, thanks a million. Now, what do you suppose...
No, wait, madame. Perhaps it is better if I look first. Alas, it is as I feared.
What is it?
You do not know? Look!
Oh, it's a man. Is he...
Oui, madame, he has been strangled. This is murder. Zut alors, I must compliment you, madame. Your color, it is excellent. You did not even commence to faint. For one who...
I don't fall apart in a crisis, if that's what you mean. And furthermore, I'm not madame, I'm mademoiselle, by choice, Miss Abigail Fletcher. And now, if we'll get that, corpse out of here, I'd like to sit down.
That I regret I cannot do, mademoiselle. The body must not be touched before the police arrive.
Police?
Well, yes, of course the police. I am calling them now. Allô? Allô? Inspector Stevens. It is me, Hercule Poirot. Alas, no, I have not found the apartment, but I have found something of perhaps more interest. A corpse. Right here in my hotel. Room number
515.
Number 550. Mademoiselle, what are you doing with the body?
Nothing. I was just trying to see his face.
You will have that opportunity later. Pardon, Inspector. We are in room 515. Bien? We shall expect you immediately. Bien, Miss Fletcher. Now that you have observed the face of this unfortunate one, perhaps you will be good enough to tell me who he is?
I certainly will not. Who do you think you are?
Mademoiselle, permit me to present myself. I am Hercule Poirot, formerly chief of the Belgian Sûreté.
Yeah, that's what you say. Now look, Mr. Poirot, I've read plenty of detective stories, and none of them had a detective that looked anything like you. I'll wait for the police and let them ask the questions.
As you desire, mademoiselle. I merely wish to point out one thing. It is you who the police will question first.
Me?
But of course, you are the most likely suspect, no?
Well, all right. What do you want to know?
First, what are you doing in this hotel?
Well, I've lived here for 10 solid years, ever since I left Maine.
And what do you do? What is your occupation?
Why, I don't have an occupation. I've got a little income, and I like it here in New York. In the last few years, I've been doing war work, Red Cross, and things like that.
You seem a trifle vague, mademoiselle. Now, about this man. Who is he?
I don't know. I've never seen him before in my life.
Mademoiselle, I advise you to consider your answers with care. Do not forget, a man lies dead in this room.
I can't help that. I don't know who he is or how he got here. I told you, I was out of the room for 10 minutes.
Well, that may be, Miss Fletcher, but it does not help you. This man has been dead for at least an hour.
How do you know?
If you will touch the body, you will observe that it is already beginning to cool. Therefore, mademoiselle, if you left this room only 10 minutes ago, your situation is indeed grave, for this man was already dead.
Oh, but I couldn't have done it.
So? And why not?
Because his body was lying right across the doorway. You know perfectly well I couldn't get through that doorway and still leave a body wedged against it. Belgian surety indeed.
Very good, mademoiselle. But you could have murdered him in here, made your departure by way of this fire escape through the room overhead, and come down inside the building to the corridor where you so innocently made my acquaintance. You see, there is evidence that this fire escape has but recently been used. Now, it is not so amusing, eh?
Well, I don't care. I had nothing to do with this. I know you detectives are out to get a suspect, and just because a man was murdered in my room...
Gently, mademoiselle. All is not lost. Fortunately, you deal with Hercule Poirot, who goes one step beyond the obvious. You see, this poor man was not murdered in your room, but he was killed in the room overhead.
But why? Why kill him upstairs and leave him on my doorstep?
That, mademoiselle, we shall discover in due course.
All right, Mr. Poirot. Now that you've got the corpse safely locked in my room and us outside, what am I supposed to do? Sleep on the fire escape?
I do not think that will be necessary, mademoiselle. You are coming to the lobby where we shall wait for my friend, Inspector Stevens. He will see that you are comfortably sheltered for the night.
Tell me, Mr. Poirot, how'd you figure out that the murder took place upstairs?
Is it not apparent, Miss Fletcher? Please squeeze the bell for the elevator. I look out your window and observe the fire escapes. And what do I find? Everywhere the dust reposes peacefully.
Well, naturally. The Hope is too busy to polish fire escapes.
Ah, mademoiselle, but on one stairway, the one leading up from your window, all is disarranged. There is a broad, clear path through the dust, and it is precisely the width of a human body. And since the path extends only to the floor above, it is obvious that the body has been dragged down from room 615. Also, on the garments of the dead man, on the trousers, the left elbow, across the shoulders, there are unmistakable traces of rust. Ah, voila, the elevator.
Going down.
Monsieur, would you be so good as to explain why you were so long in arriving?
Huh? Oh, it's this old car. Every once in a while it goes on the fritz.
Comme on the fritz?
Out of order.
Ah,
Yeah, got stuck on the 9th.
you have been on the 9th floor all this time?
Yep, that's right.
That is difficult to believe,
Why?
because the indicator has been pointing to the basement.
Ah, that indicator. As soon as anything goes wrong, it flops.
I am not so sure that is true, the indicator. But, unquestionably, monsieur, it is true the too clever murder. As soon as anything goes wrong, it flops. Ah, beyond Inspector Stevens, there is a situation. An unknown man strangled to death in one room and dragged down the fire escape to another.
Poirot, if this body is the person I think it is, the commissioner will have my head.
Eh? Mon ami, forgive me, you seem agitated.
And we were warned, too. I assigned my best man to guard him, the smartest cop in my force, Sam Tremble. Good Lord, Poirot, there'll be an international scandal.
Gently, mon ami, you go too fast even for Hercule Poirot. Who is this magnificent figure of international importance?
Parrish, Jonathan Parrish.
Parrish. Ah, oui, the name rings a bell. He is a big currency expert, eh?
That's right. He's on his way to York to set up the new paper currency for the liberated countries. Checked in at the Winster today, was supposed to pick up some papers, dyes, and inks, and then hop Obama tonight.
Fifth floor, please. An enormous undertaking, and one of great importance.
And I was responsible for his safety. He's supposed to be an eccentric sort of guy, no photographs, no publicity. Tremble was the only man on the force who knew him at all, and Tremble failed. You see what this means, Poirot?
I see only this, my friend. We've arrived at the first step in the solution of this distressing murder. For now we know the motive. This way, Inspector? This is the room. Mademoiselle Fletcher, your key?
Here you are.
I'll never live this down.
You exaggerate, mon ami. Even the best of men sometimes fail. Regard, Inspector, here is your corpse.
They certainly did a job. Thunderation!
You are shocked, monsieur?
Poirot, do you realize what's happened?
But of course, Inspector, it is not Jonathan Parrish who has been murdered, but your own faithful policeman, Sam Tremble.
Poirot, that's not very funny. You knew it all the time?
Pardon, mon ami, I knew nothing of the sort.
But you distinctly told me.
No, Inspector, you told me. To me, the man was an unknown corpse. It could be anyone. But when you speak of two men, one a wealthy financier of international importance, the other a police officer, by employing the little grey cells, it is not difficult to conclude that a corpse with the large, high, comfortable shoes and the plain suit is a policeman.
Oh, of course. I'm sorry.
Monsieur, now is not the time for profuse apologies.
You're right. We've got to get to Parrish at once. This poor guy doesn't even know his border cord's gone. Hello? Hello, operator. What room is Jonathan Parrish in? 615? Hold on. Poirot, that's the room directly over this one, where Tremble was killed?
Precisely.
Operator, let me talk to Mr. Parrish.
I think you will find the gentleman does not answer.
Why not?
Obviously, he would not witness a murder without reporting it. On the other hand, he too may...
Good Lord, Poirot. Do you think he's dead too? We know he received a warning from Hilary Kent.
I do not follow you, mon ami.
Huh? Oh, I don't blame you. Hilary Kent is a criminal egomaniac.
Ah, one who commits crime chiefly for the pleasure of baffling the police, no?
Exactly. Well, this Hilary Kent, or someone who calls himself Hilary Kent, is one of those guys. He pulled off a few clever jobs and got away with them. We don't know anything about him, but whoever he is, he's got to get his thrill out of every job. So he makes it a rule to warn his victims.
Ah, me, I know well the type. And Monsieur Parrish, I take it, has received such a warning.
Right. Now you see why I assigned my best man.
Ah bien, but now we must hasten upstairs to Mr. Parrish's room. Already it may be too late.
I'll go too. I don't want to stay here with this body.
You'll stay right here, Miss Fletcher, until I give you permission.
Inspector, if you do not mind, myself, I am not averse to Miss Fletcher's company. I find her very intriguing.
Oh, no answer.
But naturally, you do not expect the murderer to sit down and wait for us? You will have to employ the passkey.
Remember, Miss Fletcher, you're not to touch anything.
It's perfectly all right. I'm wearing gloves.
The inspector is thinking of fingerprints? Moi, I do not think we will find any. Monsieur Kent, or whoever the killer may be, is too clever to leave such traces.
Well, maybe. But I want to be sure we don't lose even the tiniest clue.
An excellent approach, mon ami. There are many interesting things we may learn here about Monsieur Parrish.
He certainly gets around a lot.
Oui, the labels on his luggage are from the four corners of the earth.
Miss Fletcher, I said you're not to touch anything.
For goodness sakes, it's only a book.
Books may be of great significance. Ah, oui, this one, for example. It is no ordinary book. It is a stamp album of great value. Ah. Some of these stamps are almost without price. Very interesting. This Guatemala blue.
Put up your hands, all of you.
Oh
Don't
my.
move. I said don't move.
Have no fear, monsieur. I will not dispute the authority of your gun.
Mister, you can't get away with this. Put your gun down and talk fast. Who the devil are you?
But obviously, Inspector, this is the man we seek. Monsieur Jonathan Parrish.
That's just who I am. All right, speak up. Which one of you is Hilary Kent?
Hilary Kent? Now, wait a minute, Mr. Parrish. You got this all wrong. I'm Inspector Stevens, Homicide Squad, and this is Hercule Poirot, the famous Belgian detective.
So you say. You don't look like policeman to me, particularly that little squirt with the silly mustache.
Eh?
You stay right where you are till I check on you.
Ah bien, Monsieur Parrish, now that you are satisfied as to our identity.
Well, I've heard of you, of course. Supposed to be the greatest French detective in the world.
Ugh, people always say that about me, Monsieur, but it is not entirely true. I am not French. I am Belgian.
Well, I wish you all get out of here and leave me alone. I'm expecting my daughter, and I don't want her running into a room full of policemen.
But, Monsieur, you are in great danger. You must be protected at every moment.
You offering me police protection? Not worth a hoot.
I beg your...
That's what I said. Not worth a hoot. I have protection. Some detective they signed to me. Where is he?
He's dead.
What?
He was murdered in this very room while protecting you.
Therefore, if you do not object too violently, I shall undertake to protect you until you step aboard your aeroplane.
All right, stay. I don't know how long it'll be. I'm just waiting for one little parcel to be delivered, then I'm off.
Monsieur is taking with him much equipment?
Yep, quite a load. I've already sent most of it off to the airport.
Ah, bon, that is good.
Miss, don't eat that chocolate. Might be poisoned.
Oh, nonsense. This candy isn't poisoned.
I wouldn't be too sure. That box of candy supposedly came from my daughter Laura. It was delivered a little while ago.
But you suspect she did not send it?
Well, she's supposed to come here in person. Should be here now, in fact. Why would she send it?
You are very shrewd, mon ami.
Hi. Oh, excuse me.
Wait a minute, Johnny. Come back here. What'd you want?
Nothing. I just wanted to see if Mr. Parrish got his extra laundry box okay. Yes, I received it. Okay, excuse me. I picked up a few more things to take along. Special dyes and inks. Just about filled up that laundry box. Excuse me, I've got to go into the bedroom and finish packing.
Crusty old bird, isn't he?
How'd you be if you knew someone was out to kill you? No wonder he's so jittery.
He is irritable and nervous. Perhaps that explains it.
Explains what?
Why he wears upon his feet that unique pair of socks, one of which is green and the other brown.
All right. If the man wants to be eccentric, let him be. I've still got a motorboat to catch. You want to come along?
No, Inspector, I have attached myself to Monsieur Parrish, and I propose to see that...
Come in.
Inspector, one of the men found this on the sidewalk outside of the hotel. Told you might want to take a look at it before turning it into the lost and found.
Okay, Brady. Thanks. A lady's purse, usual assortment of stuff. Cosmetics, perfume, change, keys. Do you make anything of it, Poirot?
Ah, sacre bleu.
What is it?
These initials, LP. Monsieur Parrish?
Yeah?
What did you say the name of your charming daughter was?
Laura.
Good Lord! LP? Laura Parrish?
Poirot, where are you going?
I have a little idea. Mademoiselle Fletcher, please accompany me.
How about Mr. Parrish? You were so attached to him?
I have momentarily become detached. I leave him in your care, Inspector. Protect him with the apple of your eye. Come. It will not be the first time you have left the elevator and attended Monsieur Johnny. Come along.
Mr. Poirot, you're wasting your time in this basement, believe me.
Nevertheless, it interests me. Please light the way.
There's nothing here, just a lot of ash cans.
One moment. What is behind this door?
Well, that's the laundry bin. They keep the soiled linen in there. You're not going to find anything in there.
We shall take one brief glance, eh?
There, you see? Nothing but a pile of dirty sheets and pillowcases.
Good gracious, what a laundry bill they must have.
Bien. Let us proceed to... One moment.
What is it?
Sacre bleu! Protruding from under those sheets.
Holy cow!
A foot! A small foot. This is what I feared.
Look!
Ah! It moves. Then we are not too late. Quickly, monsieur, help me to uncover her.
That's all I know, Mr. Poirot. I was walking along the street toward the hotel just as I passed the alley I was pulled in. I tried to scream, but something was pressed against my mouth.
Chloroform, Miss Parrish. Had you seen your assailant, you would have seen Hilary Kent. Alors, Miss Parrish, you are most fortunate. Another few minutes under those linens, and who knows? Voila, here is the door of your father. Inspector Stevens, here is Miss Parrish.
Oh well, that's a relief. Come in. I was afraid, Poirot, you'd turn up with the body. How did you manage to find her?
That is not important. We have found her. But it seems we have lost the father.
Oh yes, Miss Parrish. I'm sorry. Your father's terribly upset about you, but his material was delivered and he had to rush off to the airport. Oh no! Don't tell me I missed him after all this.
Ah, my pauvre petite. We have neglected you, eh? Miss Fletcher, your room is now free of corpses. Please take Mademoiselle Parrish down and to extend to her the first aid.
Come along, Laura.
Thank you.
Inspector, I hope you do not later have cause to regret that you permitted Parrish to go off to the airport unprotected.
He'll be all right. Besides, I've got a job to do here. Although, frankly, I'm in a complete fog. I can't make head or tail of the whole business.
No, Stevens, the head and the tail we have.
What?
Yes, 'tis merely a fragment of the middle that we lack.
Well, who is it? Hey, Poirot, where are you going?
To see how Miss Parrish is, and to telephone the airport to see that Mr. Parrish receives the proper attention. Au revoir.
Mr. Poirot, where are you taking me now? I like to have some...
Mr. Poirot? Mr. Poirot?
Hello? Someone calls?
It's Johnny in that parked car.
Mr. Poirot, I got a message for you from Inspector Stevens. Rushed off a minute ago.
From Stevens. What is it? What is the message?
He says he just got word that Mr. Parrish has been seriously hurt in an automobile accident on North Salem Road.
Mon Dieu, this is too much.
You're to get there as fast as you can. Here's the address.
52 North Salem Road. Monsieur, are your duties for the day over?
Yeah?
And this is your vehicle?
Yeah, why?
Well, there is no time to seek a taxi, so I will impose upon your kindness. Miss Fletcher, quickly, please.
Okay. North Salem Road, right?
No, to the airport.
What?
But Mr. Parrish isn't at the airport. He's injured on North Salem Road.
No, mademoiselle, that is what I'm intended to believe. You do not think so, Johnny? He is not there, I assure you.
How do you know?
Well, North Salem Road is not on the way to the airport. It is in the opposite direction. This is merely a trick to keep us from the flying field. We must hurry there before it is too late.
Well, the airplane is still there, but I don't see anything amiss.
Hola, over there.
Parrish, as large as life.
Yep, that's him, all right.
Come along, please. Both of you. Monsieur Parrish.
Monsieur Poirot, my daughter, is she?
She's at the hotel, monsieur, resting. She's had a small misadventure, but she is entirely safe.
Thank
You are
heavens.
relieved, no?
Am I? I don't think I'd have gotten on that plane if you hadn't found her. Fortunately, I didn't have to. They've been delayed a little.
Poirot!
Inspector Stevens, I knew you would not walk into the trap.
Yeah, but as usual, you beat me to it. I was halfway out to North Salem Road before I realized what was cooking.
Ah bien, here is Mr. Parrish safe and sound, eh? I suggest the bomber be inspected with great care. There may be sabotage.
Good idea.
Also, have the doors to this building guarded.
Mr. Poirot, do I have to hang around here?
But of course, Johnny, we may require you for our return trip. Ah, Monsieur Parrish, here is your pilot to report.
We're ready now, Mr. Parrish.
Thank you. Oh, Captain, here comes my luggage. Will you see that it gets aboard?
Right, sir.
And be especially careful of that wooden crate. Well, goodbye, Inspector. I must admit, you've been extremely helpful, and I'm much obliged.
Not at all. Goodbye and happy landings.
Miss Fletcher?
Goodbye, sir.
Monsieur Poirot, it's been a privilege to know you. I'm only sorry I couldn't remain to see you break the case.
Ah, but you have, monsieur.
I beg your pardon?
The case, it is broken. Inspector, meet Hilary Kent, the gentleman to whom you have just wished bon voyage.
Hilary Kent?
You're mad, Poirot.
Good gracious! I thought he was Parrish.
And that wooden crate, which I have waited so long to see, it is not to be moved, Inspector.
Why not?
Because, mon ami, it contains the body of Jonathan Parrish. A charming restaurant this, n'est pas? The planes circling about give one the feeling of flying, eh?
The feeling I've got, if that's what flying gives you, keep me from it.
Ah, that is natural. I too do not like murder, Miss Fletcher. Ah, Inspector Stevens, everything is taken care of?
Yes. They're taking Kent away now.
Then perhaps you will join us in a little supper.
No thanks, Poirot. I've got to get back. I just dropped over to ask a few questions.
For example?
Well, when did you first suspect that Kent was impersonating Parrish?
Almost from the start. When we enter the room of Monsieur Parrish, what do we find? An amazing paradox. On one hand, we have a man who is an ardent stamp collector, whose album is in perfect order. Each stamp, each shade of stamp, precisely in its proper place, except the most valuable one of all, a Guatemala blue, reposing among American 3-cent stamps. Later, when I look at his socks, one is green and the other is brown. I am certain the man in the room is colorblind.
And therefore not Parrish, the stamp collector.
More important than that, he cannot be Parrish, the currency expert, who is to select the colors and shades of the new paper money. Therefore, if the man in the room is not Parrish, who is he?
Obviously Hilary Kent.
Then why don't you arrest him right away?
Because without a body, one cannot prove a murder, and I felt sure that Monsieur Kent would lead me to the body.
Then you weren't guarding him, you were watching him.
Precisely.
Well, you weren't so smart. When you let him out of your sight, he might have gone away in the plane.
Not at all. When I called the airport, it was to make sure that the plane would not leave until I gave the word.
You know everything, don't you?
Some things are obvious, mademoiselle. We can suppose that Hilary Kent discovers the nature of the mission Monsieur Parrish is engaged in. Ah, what a magnificent opportunity for a swindler, no? Perhaps the greatest in history. To remove Jonathan Parrish, fly to Europe as Parrish, deliver the papers, the formulas, the dies to the proper authorities, and then, at the moment just, counterfeit the new currency and reap a huge fortune.
Jumping codfish! The man must be mad.
Perhaps, mademoiselle, but he is also a genius, no? He learns that Parrish is at the Hotel Windsor in room 615. He knocks on the door. Parrish admits him and is at once strangled to death. Eh? But the body, that must be disposed of, where no one will find it. There is but one thing to do. Take the body to Europe in the very packing case which stands in the room.
Then you just guessed where the body was.
No, Inspector, there is proof in the room. You remember the second laundry box which Hilary Kent asks for? This is for some special ink, he says to us, which I have only just now purchased. Obviously, this is a lie. On such a mission, one does not purchase supplies at the last minute. Hence, I know that these dyes and inks have been removed from some other box or crate to make room for the body.
Gracious! It's as plain as the nose on my face. But what about Laura Parrish?
Oh, I got that figured out. She calls up and says to Kent, "Pop, I'm coming over." Of course he can't allow that or the jigs up, so he gets down to the alley and eliminates her. Right, Poirot?
Exactly. As for poor Trimble, he has been with Parrish. He knows him. When he knocks at the door and Kent appears, he demands to see Parrish. Kent kills him, and since the packing case is already occupied, drags him down to Miss Fletcher's room.
That was his big mistake. He never should have started up with me.
Excuse me for a minute. I think that's the ward wagon pulling in.
Mademoiselle, may I ask you a question of a personal nature?
Fire away.
Mademoiselle, you are not now engaged in a business enterprise?
No.
Are you fluent with the shorthand and the typewriter?
Why, yes.
Bon, mademoiselle, I find you both intelligent and amusing. A rare combination. Moreover, I am in great need of a secretary with your superb qualifications.
Why, Mr. Poirot.
Oh, you do not yet employ the little grey cells to the best advantage. Nevertheless, if you are interested...
Oh, Mr. Poirot, for 10 years I've been devouring detective stories, and you ask me if I'm interested? Chief, you've got a secretary.
Well, Poirot, you're taking Kent away now. I guess that winds up the case.
Not quite, Inspector. Tell me, where does Monsieur Kent reside?
We found a lease on him for an apartment in Gramercy Park.
That is a good neighborhood?
Oh, swell. It's right in the heart of the city. But why do you ask?
I do not think that Monsieur Kent will need an apartment for some time, but I do. You see, my friends, it is as I have said. To find an apartment in New York City is the essence of simplicity. One only has to solve 2 murders.
Be sure to listen next week when Agatha Christie, American's favorite mystery writer, brings you her favorite detective, Hercule Poirot, starring Harold Huber in the case of Murder by the Sea. Agatha Christie's Poirot is directed by Carl Eastman.
And now, the Hall of Fantasy. Welcome to the Hall of Fantasy. Welcome to the series of radio dramas dedicated to the supernatural, the unusual, the unknown. Come with me, my friends, and we shall descend into the world of the unknown and the forbidden, down to the depths where the veil of time is lifted and the supernatural reigns as king. Come with me to listen to the tale of the Shadow People.
Elaine, have you seen anything else since you spoke to me last?
No, I haven't. Ever since Mother died, nothing's happened.
Well, I only hope that.
What's that?
It came from upstairs. Come on.
You don't think that...
I don't know what to think. I only hope that.
David, if anything's happened to him...
We'll see in a moment.
There's no light in his room.
You wait here, Elaine. Where's the light?
Over to your left. David? What's wrong? Why didn't you leave the light on?
Your father's dead, Elaine.
In just a moment, the Hall of Fantasy will present the Shadow People.
Coca-Cola. Today's modern light refreshment is Coca-Cola. More teenagers enjoy Coke now than ever before. Comes in 3 different sizes too. Regular size, hostess size, and the new individual size bottle that many people prefer with the kids home from school. Always keep a good supply of Coke in hand. Think young, be young. Serve and enjoy ice-cold Coca-Cola. Today's modern light refreshment.
And now for our story, an original tale of fantasy by Richard Thorne, entitled The Shadow People.
Somewhere along the line of your life, you've met them. You have come in contact with the Shadow People. When did we first discuss it? Oh yes, Brian and Elaine and I. It was my apartment. There was only one light on in the entire place.
What's wrong?
Elaine, what's the matter?
Oh, it's silly. I know, but I thought I saw something in that doorway over there.
Where?
Over there. Right over there. Where are you going, David?
Over to that archway, just to let you know that there's nothing here.
There, you see, Elaine? Nothing's wrong. Nothing at all.
Are you satisfied that there's no one else here but us?
Yes, Oh, I'm sorry. I just thought that I'd leave the overhead lights on.
I'm sorry, I thought that.
Put them back on, David. Please.
All right, Elaine.
Well, what's bothering you, sis?
I don't know. It's just that... I don't know.
Tell us about it, Elaine. Tell us what's bothering you.
You promised that you won't laugh at me.
Of course not.
Brian?
Well, Elaine, I'm your brother. If there's something troubling you, I'd like to know about it.
All right, then. The reason I was so upset was the fact that I saw someone, or something, standing in that archway.
But Elaine, David showed you there's no one else in here. When the lights were put on, you saw for yourself we're alone.
I'm not talking about something you can see in the light, Brian. I'm not talking about a human being.
Then what's it all about, Elaine?
In darkness, I saw something that can't be seen in a lighted area, and I've seen it several times before.
You're sure you're not imagining this, Elaine?
Oh, I don't have that good an imagination, Brian.
How long have you seen this thing, Elaine?
Well, it started about 6 weeks ago. You were in Detroit on business, Brian. Mom and Dad were on vacation, and I was in the house by myself, in the library. There was only one light on. I sat in the chair beneath it reading. Several times I thought that something was watching me. I felt that there was someone in the room with me, standing right in back of me. Every so often I'd glance over my shoulder, but there seemed to be nothing there. And then I thought I heard someone whispering. I wasn't sure, but when I heard it again, I got up and I looked all over the house. Oh, I'm not easily frightened, you know that, but out in the hallway it was almost entirely black. Luckily, I was near a light switch. I looked over my shoulder and I saw this huge hulking shape for the first time. And I heard a voice, or rather, the whisper of a voice. I couldn't distinguish the words, but the dark shape seemed to be moving towards me. My hand was on the light switch and I turned it on. The minute the light flooded the hallway, the shape was gone. There was nothing there. I was alone again. As long as there's light, I know it can't hurt me. I know it can't reach me.
Well, you might have imagined it, you know.
Oh, of course that's possible, but I'm sure I didn't. It was so real. So real. That shape in the darkness. It was the very essence of evil itself.
There was an old man I knew of, a Dr. Hecelius. I'd heard that he knew quite a good deal about the supposed supernatural manifestations which had taken place in the world. I went to him to see if he knew anything that might explain the events of the story Elaine had told us.
Yes, my good sir. What do you wish?
I have an appointment with Dr. Hecelius.
Oh, yes. He mentioned something about it. You are Mr. Drake?
Yes.
If you'll come inside.
Thank you.
Dr. Hecelius is in the study. Please come with me. Doctor, a visitor for you.
Oh yeah, bring him in. You may go now.
Yes, doctor.
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Sit down, please, in that chair over there.
Thank you, sir.
Now, what is the nature of your visit to me?
Well, I understand, Dr. Hecelius, that you have a great knowledge of the supernatural manifestations which have occurred on the earth.
Great knowledge, Mr. Drake. Nein, hardly that. I have only scratched the surface in my years of study. Perhaps I can help you. Then again, perhaps I cannot.
Well, may I tell you a story?
By all means, my good sir.
All right. Now, this didn't happen to me, Doctor, but to my fiancée. It seems that about 6 weeks ago, when she was alone, but when the light was on, the dark form disappeared. And that's the story, sir, as much of it as I can remember.
I see. It's a strange tale you tell me.
I'm fully aware of that, Dr. Hecelius.
You say she seemed to hear whispered voices?
Yes, that's what she says.
I see. A moment, please. I have a book in my files. Oh, yeah. Here it is. I believe that is the one. Yeah. Perhaps I may be able to help you after all. Let me see. This is a very ancient book, Mr. Drake. I seem to remember. Yeah. Here is an account of the happenings such as you relate. And we shall live on the earth, and they shall not see us. Yeah, it has been foretold by the rulers of the darkness.
And they shall not see us. Yes, it has been foretold by the ruler of the darkness. They who live by day and retire to sleep by night shall never know that we walk with them. that we watch them, that we wait for our chance. Only in the night will they see us, for in the daylight we are not seen. Only in the night, when the darkness grows together in the forms of the shadow people, are shaped from the blackness, will they know of us?
Will they know of us? And they will know that we are their companions. They are the shadow people. I knew I had read something similar to the story you have told me, Mr. Drake.
Dr. Hecelius, what can we do?
Well, give me a little time. Let me see if I can find any more references to these people of the darkness. One more thing, Mr. Drake.
Yes?
Be sure that your fiancée is never left alone at night. Be sure that there is some living thing, animal or human, which accompanies her in every second of the night. For she is in danger, Mr. Drake. A terrible danger.
Double dare you! Shower Rice Krispies into your breakfast bowl. Crown the Golden Tempters with sun-drenched berries, rich and luscious. Add frosty cool milk or cream. Then just try to keep from pitching in. Double dare you! This dish offers the natural vitamins and minerals of milk and fruit, the food energy of rice, plus a lively can't-be-copied flavor. A crispiness that puts a satisfying crunch in every spoonful. Rice Krispies actually snap, crackle, and pop. You can hear how crisp they are. Oven popping, gentle toasting, a famous Kellogg recipe. These turn the trick. For a brighter breakfast, order Rice Krispies today. Rice Krispies is a trademark of Kellogg Company for its oven popped rice. Look for Kellogg's, the greatest name in cereals.
Back to our show. An original tale of fantasy by Richard Thorne entitled The Shadow People.
That night, the night of the day I had seen Hecelius, Elaine's mother died. She died in her sleep. When she failed to appear for breakfast, Elaine's father went upstairs to see what was wrong. When he entered her room, he discovered that she was dead. The family doctor couldn't explain it, for Elaine's mother had been in perfect health. A few weeks later, I was out on the house spending a weekend with them. I glanced at the clock on the mantel, and it showed 11.
I can't understand why Brian hasn't returned from town.
Well, he said he had some extra work to catch up on. He told me this morning that he might be late.
Well, 11 o'clock? I'm going upstairs. Glad you came out, David. Good seeing you again.
It's a pleasure to be here, sir.
Well, don't stay up too late. See you both in the morning. Good night.
Good night, Dad.
Good night, Mr. Davis.
He isn't the same, David. Ever since Mother died, he hasn't been the same.
I didn't realize that until tonight. He has changed.
I only hope that he'll start living again. Ever since she died, it seems that a part of him died with her.
Elaine, have you seen anything else since you spoke to me last?
No, I haven't. Ever since Mother died, nothing's happened.
Well, I only hope that.
What's that?
It came from upstairs. Come on.
You don't think that...
I don't know what to think. I only hope that.
Oh, David! David, if anything's happened to him...
We'll see in a moment.
There's no light in his room.
You wait here, Elaine. Where's the light?
Over to your left. David? What's wrong? Why didn't you leave the light on?
Your father's dead, Elaine. I had walked into the darkened bedroom. On the bed was Elaine's father. It didn't take a second look for me to know that he was dead. I had switched off the light and walked into the hallway to tell Elaine what happened. And then from the room, there had come an eerie, quiet laughter. In the darkness of the room was some unknown evil power. The voice itself was unearthly. There was no substance to it. It sounded as if it came from the darkness itself.
No, I don't believe you.
It's the truth, Elaine. There's nothing more I can do. We'll have to notify the police.
Tell me it's not the truth, David. Tell me it's not true.
I'm sorry, Elaine. I wish I could. Your father's dead. After the burial, Dr. Heselius got in touch with me. He said he wanted to meet both Elaine and Brian, and he wanted to talk to the three of us. Accordingly, a few nights later, he came out to their house.
Miss Tavis, will you tell me when you saw this first manifestation?
The night Brian was in Detroit.
Now, Miss Tavis, you have seen this apparition in the company of other people? Is that correct?
Yes, the night at David's apartment.
All right. Now, I'll tell you what I think. You're in deadly danger, Miss Tavis. These beings want to claim you. So far, they have had no success. Only in the darkness do they have power. Little by little, step by step. They have been removing the obstacles in their way to reaching you. First your mother, and then your father, Miss Tavis. Both died in the same fashion. In the darkness. Destructed them. Now tell me, do you feel that their presence in this room as you talk now?
Yes.
Turn out the lights, Brian.
But...
Stand by the switch, if you please, Brian. If anything happens, turn the lights back on.
All right.
Dr. Heselius, I don't think that...
Do you want me to continue working with you?
Yes, sir.
All right, then. Brian, turn off the lights.
Yes, Doctor.
The room is in darkness now, Miss Tavis. Do you feel or see anything?
No, Yes. Yes, I do.
Do you see anything?
Yes.
Doctor, I don't think...
Be quiet, you fool. I know what I'm doing.
In front of me, the darkness, gathering together to a huge, terrible...
Not only do you see us, Miss Davis, but everyone else in this room will also see the vague shapes forming themselves in the blackness. We do not want you, Dr. Heselius. The girl we want. We advise you to drop this case. You'll only bring down the wrath of the Shadow People upon your head. The girl. We want the girl. Do not stop us. Let us take her now.
The lights! Turn on the lights!
They're gone.
Miss Tavis, are you all right?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Just as she said, the darkness. I saw it form into something too.
So did I. What are we gonna do, Doctor?
At the present moment, I don't know. But this much I do know. You must leave this house immediately. You must try to get out of their reach. I don't know if that's possible. I hope it is. I shall have to return to my home. I must learn if there's some manner in which we can defeat these creatures. For the moment, leave this house. Dispose of it. In any manner you see fit. But leave this house.
Dishwashing. It still isn't fun, but new instant joy makes it, well, almost nice. With new joy, you're away from the dishes fast. Dishes feel cleaner. Your hands stay soft and nice. It's the mildest possible detergent you can buy, including all leading liquids and powders. And oh yes, The dishwasher. Just look how fresh and clean it stays. Joy puts an end to greasy dishwashing. So, think of your hands and think of yourself. Get new Joy, made especially for dishes, and make dishwashing almost nice.
Back now to our story, an original tale of fantasy by Richard Thorne, entitled The Shadow People.
We spent the night in my apartment, the three of us. The following day, Brian and Elaine had made arrangements to dispose of the house. In the afternoon, Dr. Heselius called me and asked that I come to see him.
David, I'm glad you're here.
Anything new, Doctor?
Yes, and nein. You realize, of course, that the spiritual manifestation is not new, that it has gone on for centuries.
No, I wasn't aware of that.
It's true, David. De Maupassant wrote what was supposedly a fictional story about the manifestation, David. He called it Sehola. However, according to the information here on my desk, it was taken from an actual case history. Of course, they embroidered the story, added a few touches to it, to something they didn't realize it actually existed.
But have you found anything in which we can fight them?
Everything depends upon an answer I received from a colleague of mine in Paris. Dr. Henry Renault. I dispatched a telegram to him last night.
Well, why hasn't he answered by now?
There are certain things that must be done. It will take a few days, I'm afraid. We have to wait, David. There's nothing else we can do.
In the next few days, the house was sold, and Brian and Elaine moved into a newer, more modern home a few miles from my apartment. Heselius said it might take a few days for them to build up their power. I spent the nights at the new house. The lights were left on, and I watched for any unusual occurrence. In the daytime, I'd return to my apartment and get some sleep. About 4 days after Elaine and Brian moved into the new house, I was at home when Heselius phoned me. Hello?
David?
Yes. Dr. Heselius?
I hate to tell you this, David.
What's the matter? What's wrong?
They were a step ahead of me, David. I just received word that Renault died, or was killed. At the very moment I sent the telegram to him.
Step by step, they had outwitted us, for they had anticipated every move we'd make. Even Dr. Heselius was at a loss as what to do. He agreed to meet me at the Davis house.
What did you want to see us about, Dr. Heselius?
Did you find out anything more?
I'm sorry to say that I haven't. At the moment, I'm at a complete loss. I don't know what to do.
But what did you want to see us about this evening?
Merely to check and see if anything else has happened. Miss Davis, have you seen or heard anything?
Not in the house. Only in my dreams.
Your dreams?
Yes. When I go to sleep at night, in my dreams. In the darkness I see them.
Then it's grown much worse. Much worse. I was hoping that it would not have progressed so far. There has been no disturbance in this house. But now they disturb your sleep, Miss Davis. Now you must stay awake for as long as you can. I want the three of you to come to my house. Perhaps that will give you more protection.
That night, we moved over to Heselius' house. Perhaps Elaine would have more protection there. From there, we might be able to devise some plan of action, some way to beat those things. For a few days, things were quiet. The shadow people seemed to have withdrawn. For a while, I thought we might have succeeded in thwarting their purpose. Elaine no longer complained of troubled sleep, but that condition only lasted for a few days. About 10 days later, they made themselves known and felt again. That night, we were in the study, when suddenly Heselius whirled around and...
Elaine! What are you looking at?
Outside the house, right where the light leaves off. I see them.
She's right, Doctor. I can see them too.
What should we do, Doctor?
Nothing.
What do you mean, nothing?
There's nothing we can do.
We can't just...
We can't do anything, Brian. Don't you understand that they have us at their mercy? Greatest man in my field was Henry Renault. If he could do nothing against them, what do you think we can do?
He's right, Brian. There's nothing we can do.
As long as the house remains lighted, just so long as they will remain outside. If the lights were to...
That sounds like...
The Night Father was killed. The same sound! We heard the same sound!
The lights! What happened to the lights?
Oh no.
What's going on?
Be quiet, please! I thought of this emergency.
A candle!
That's right, Miss Tavis. As long as this burns, this one candle, we'll be safe, for they cannot advance into the light. They are limited by the darkness. As long as the candle burns, they will have to remain outside of this room.
Around you, every room of the house, in the darkness outside, we are around you. This time you shall not escape. This time we will claim you.
Take it easy, Brian.
I can't stand it. I'm getting out of here.
Brian, come back!
Don't be a fool. I'm going after him.
Stay here.
We can't just let him go.
He won't have a chance. I doubt if he... Ah! Miss Tavis, I'm afraid your brother is dead.
The wind, Doctor. Listen to the wind.
I know.
Yes, Doctor. Listen to the wind. You must realize by now that the three of you haven't a chance. You must know in your minds that we can destroy you at any moment we desire. But, Dr. Heselius, you may still save your own life. Let the others go. Give them to us.
Nein, you will have to take us all.
Shall we destroy your life? Shall we move in on you now?
As you wish. Do as you will. I'm sorry, David. The candle is out.
In the darkness. The figures in the darkness. We warned you, Asilius. You and the others are dead now. And we shall live on the earth. And man in the day shall not see us. They will know that we wait for our chance. That we walk with them. Only in the night, when the darkness grows together, and the forms of the shadow people are shaped from the blackness, will they see us? Then they will know that we are their companions. Look next to you, there, in the shadows.
So runs tonight's tale of the unusual, the terrifying, the unknown. Join us again when we next journey down the corridors of the Hall of Fantasy to hear another strange tale of the supernatural. All characters and events portrayed in these programs are fictional. Any similarities to actual events or persons living or dead is purely coincidental.